Then Dad broke his arm. Then Nana jiggled it all about.
Oh, hey, sorry. Didn't see you guys there. Just catch up with my weekly Bluey, seeing how he's going on here. Hey, what's up, guys? Different setting here today. We're in the office to talk about something that everybody, including myself, has had some issues with. Macros. Dun, dun, dun. Cue evil music. Yes. More briefly, this video won't be long. Different kind of video I have for you guys today, but we're gonna talk about macros and tracking food and how to gain weight and how to lose weight. Vice versa at the same time, like that, okay? So first understanding that we should know is, what are macros, okay? So according to our friend here, Mr. Internet, okay, macros are defined short for macronutrients. Basically, they're nutrients your body needs in large amounts to function and build muscle, burn fat, and keep you alive in movement. So basically, just stuff to keep us alive and keep us moving. So this is your carbs, your fats, and your proteins. Each of them play a slightly different role, okay? Now proteins, think of proteins as like the muscle builder, like they literally build the muscles. So that's what proteins are for, okay? And the next one are carbs. Now, a lot of people have a misconception on carbs, but carbs are actually good for you, okay? Think of carbs as like your energy source, so like your gas for your car. So that's what gets us up, gets us moving, that's what gives us the energy, and also is really good for our brain function with the glycogen. And fats also support hormone health. Now, when it comes to tracking your macros and, being within your macros, right, we need to find a defined line where roughly, we are getting enough carbs, fats, and proteins in, right, where we're not eating significantly over, right, or significantly under that calorie line. So how do we figure that out? Now, there's many different ways to figure that out, okay? One easy way is to get yourself on an app. So this is one app I have right here. It's called MacroFactor. Not sponsored. I would love to be though, but probably not. But this is MacroFactor here, okay? This is literally like a mini nutritionist in your pocket. Doesn't make it any more easier to have MacroFactor on your phone. So I just did the InBody, which I'm actually not very proud of, but that's why we have stuff like that, so we can see those numbers. So if we're just doing this, like guessing and checking, we're not gonna figure out like where our macros are. I'm just gonna come down here so you can see me. What's up, guys? If we're guessing and checking our numbers, we're never gonna get to where we wanna be. Like if we have accurate numbers, that's the only way to track it, it has to be accurate at that. So getting yourself on an InBody, you don't necessarily need an InBody fancy machine like this. If you have access to one, definitely use it. This is the best one you're gonna get. And it might be kind of a rude wake up like I had this morning before I made this video. But it's definitely good to have something like that, but not having scale so you see where you're at, because how you figure out your macros, right, is your base metabolic rate, which is how many calories you burn. Basically me just sitting down here right now, not talking. That's your BMR. Now there's more to it, right, which is your TDE, which we'll get into in a second. But once you get all those numbers up, right, that's when you get on the app. So I need to check in on the app. So I'm gonna re-put in my weight, and probably won't be happy with me, but I'm gonna put it in. Okay, so I actually gained a few pounds, but I know why. I had like this, literally the only thing I ate yesterday was this giant chicken parm sub. So it was just a lot of excess water weight, and it was just, so I knew what I did, but I coming into it, I was like, I probably shouldn't have ate that. But Saturdays are usually like my fun day, which I need to stop doing that too, but that's why. So I put in my weight, okay, and then I go to program update. And now what it's gonna do is it's gonna reconstruct my macros, so that way I'm at a more accurate macro towards my weight for the week. So I'm gonna accept that, and I'm gonna do that for the week, because, right, when it comes to back to the BMR and the TDE, right, how many calories you burn, right, it has to do with your height, your weight, and your activity level. So if we lose weight or we gain weight, then our BMR slightly changes. So it's good to keep weighing yourself maybe roughly about once a week, okay? Once a week is probably accurate. If you weigh yourself every day, your weight fluctuates like crazy. Some people do it, I guess. I know more people do it for like bodybuilding purposes, et cetera, but, right? If you weigh yourself once a week, that's the most accurate way to see that change. So if it's on a gradual decline, right, then you're gonna burn a little less calories each time. So each week, right, try to adjust those macros a little bit more and more. So real quick, I just wanna talk a little bit more about the BMR and the TEE, okay? So your BMR, your base metabolic rate, that's basically the number of calories your body burns at rest just to stay alive. Like I was just saying, if I'm just sitting here doing nothing, that's my BMR. Okay, now my TDE, which is your total daily energy expenditure, that's with your BMR on top of you working out, you moving, you working your job, you talking to people, laughing, crying, eating, all that you're burning calories. So that's your BMR on top of your TDE, which is kind of what those numbers need to be. So you need to know what you're at in terms of your macros. So you get those two numbers, right? That's your amount of calories that you should be eating. Should be eating if you want to maintain your weight. So actually that leads me, let's head over to now the whiteboard. If you can't see the whiteboard, please just raise your hand and let me know, okay? But a visual will be a lot easier to understand. So now let's just say, okay, we got our BMR, we got our TDE, okay, so now we know how many calories we should be having. Now for this example, let's just make it easy, okay? Let's just say your BMR and your TDE, so your total calories, right, is 1,000 calories, okay? So we have 1,000 calories right here. And to also visualize it, it's just, oh, okay. To also visualize it, it's this blue line right here, okay? So this is the 1,000 calories. This is how many calories we burn throughout the day, okay? Now, for this example, I want to lose a little bit of weight, okay? Now keep in mind, I said a little bit, okay? I don't want to drop a significant amount of pounds. So I'm at 1,000 calories, so let's just make everything super, super easy, okay? I weigh 100 pounds, and now my fats, my carbs, and my protein, okay? So if I weigh 100 pounds right off the bat, okay, I should be trying to get at least 0.8, 0.9 to 1.1 grams of protein per day. So if I weigh 100 pounds, my minimum should be at least 100 grams of protein. Okay, so now my protein, I'm gonna get 100 grams of protein, okay? Boom. Okay. I just realized I had an extra 0 here, so I just fixed it, so boom, that's 1,000. When it comes to our fats, 25 to 30% of our calories should be coming from fats, okay? So easy number here, right? If we're at 1,000, I weigh 100 pounds, okay? In this example, right, it should be anywhere from like 25 to 33 grams of fat, okay? So I'm just gonna put 33 grams right here. Don't worry about my handwriting, okay? I'm a personal trainer first. Anything with this terrible handwriting, I could be a doctor if this doesn't work out, you know? So now when it comes to your carb intake, the rest of your calories should be from your carbs, okay? So now for it, in this level here, right where I'm at, okay? Boom. When it comes to your carbs, okay, the rest of your calories should be coming from carbs, okay? So, depending on how many calories we have left, okay, the grams amount of carbs, we should be aiming anywhere to around 75 grams of carbs. Now the reason how I figured that out, right, is that we have 1,000 calories, so 1,000 calories here, boom, boom. So for every gram of protein, okay, there's 4 calories. So if there's 100 grams, right, of protein, that means that is 400 calories. So we minus that. From here, boom, that leaves us with 600 calories, okay? Now for our fats, for every gram of fat, there's 9 calories, okay? And this one's actually pretty easy because it's 1,000 and 100, so we're able to find a percentage of that, okay? It's anywhere from 25 to 33%. So we do that math, right, which is 30%, okay? Of 1,000, I can make my 30% of 1,000, okay, stay with me, is 300, boom. That's 300 calories, okay, then divide that by 9, and that gives us 33 grams of fat to figure that out. And then we know with that numbers, what's left is the amount of carbs coming on here. All those numbers for the calories that we have, okay, what that's left is the amount of calories we have for carbs. So that leaves us with about 300 calories here, okay? And then what we do is we divide that by 4 because there is 4 calories for every carb, okay? And that leaves us with 75 grams. Now, okay? You can figure it out on your own, like I just did right there. I'm not a mathematician, okay? I need to write that out. I need to have it on my phone, right? I had that information in my head, which I knew from my studies, so I was able to write that down and kind of plug and play from that way. So you can figure it out on your own, okay? But having like an app or something like MacroFactor or the InBody, right, is the best way to figure that out in terms of the accuracy, okay? Now, the reason I'm making this video is to let you guys know I can help you online and in person. So if you're in the South Shore area, right, just hit me up online, Instagram or YouTube, come DM me, we can get you set up. We can even talk one-on-one, right, get you on the InBody, all that stuff too, right? But also online, if you just give me your information, right, your social security, your credit card, your health, and no, I'm just joking. But if you give me like your weight, your height, and your activity level, we can work that out together, okay? But these are all examples, all these resources. I hope that helped figure it out. It wasn't super stressful, but I hope I can, figure that out for you guys. But yeah, so different kind of video. Just wanted to pump that out there. I want to talk a lot about nutrition and macros for you guys. So I hope you guys enjoy this video, a different kind of video. A lot of edits on this one, so it's gonna take me some time to edit it, make sure it sounds nice and fluid. But yeah, if you guys have any questions or if you have any like personal experiences you want to share when it comes to macros, all that stuff, I'd love to hear, because I definitely had my ups and downs, even now myself. Now I know what I did wrong, right? But in my head I was kind of thinking, I was like, but it was just one sandwich. I didn't really think, it was the only thing I ate today, that one sandwich. But a lot of times stuff like that can kind of be a big factor, like water weight, right? That could play a huge factor into that. Sorry, the camera cut out. I ran out of film, but thanks for watching. Try to do something like this again. Bye guys.